It's a relaxing rainy day, and I thought to myself, this is a perfect time to get a little baking done. So join me in my kitchen as I attempt an experimental health bar. This health bar will be loaded with protein, flaxseed, almond flour, and other nutrient rich foods that will keep you full longer, but is a healthier option outside of those that you buy at the grocery store. After all, it will be made without additional chemicals and it will have less sugar content. Remember, when you create these things yourself, you have more power and flexibility within the kitchen because you can customize. So let's get started. This will be trial number one. Based off how these came out, I will definitely make some improvements for next time around. So let's get going. As you can see, don't be afraid to test things out and correct as you go. I began to chop the coconut and found that it wasn't giving me the texture I wanted. So I just put it in the processor and let it do it for me. And there you go, consistent pieces. Now, often when you work with dried fruits, you may want to rehydrate it so it's not so hard and chewy when it's cooked. So I am going to do just that. We're going to let it steep in some hot liquid for a few minutes, and then I'll strain it out and it'll be ready for use later. With this recipe, we're using navy beans. It's essentially a bean pie bar. Yeah, you remember those classic bean pies that you would buy along the street side? Well, we're making ours a protein bar, but we're going to load it with flaxseed, almond flour, ginger, nutmeg, cinnamon, and I'm going to sweeten it with pure maple syrup, as well as a splash of agave in the crust. Now keep in mind, when you do these things yourself, you can modify where you see fit. Initially, as I moved through this recipe, I thought it could use about 6 egg whites. But after they cooked, I found that the texture was a little tighter than I wanted. So my next go round, I'll use half of that. I also think that this recipe could have used some smoothness from maybe a nut butter, like sun butter or even cashew butter, or a nice natural organic peanut butter. Maybe just like a half a cup or so to give that nice mouthfeel. My husband really liked the flavor. They weren't extremely sweet. They had nice notes of all those ingredients that I mentioned. But I would personally like to add a splash more vanilla and a touch more cinnamon, and maybe scale back on that fresh ginger just a bit. But if you like it, hey, keep it as it is. Now, again, this recipe was definitely an experiment. I played with things as I went along and modified it to what I thought would do best. I recommend you do the same. Don't be afraid to tweak a recipe and make it your own. After all, that's customization. Okay, so what I did is I made a cookie crumb crust with those dry ingredients that you see there. After I've combined them, I decided to add about a half a cup into the actual bean mix itself to give a little consistency and a little bit of that nice cinnamon flavor that we had added to the dry mix. I pureed that once more, and we'll add that into our bars after we've par-baked the crust, just like you would a lemon bar or some other sort of baked pie. Remember, principle, method, and technique is all you need with great cooking. If you apply the correct method, principle, and technique, you can certainly work towards getting the end results you want. So that's what I'm doing here. I thought the end result would look much nicer with the crust with that soft, creamy filling on top. So that's what I'm making here. Also, I cooked my bars just a little too long. You know how it is when you're juggling things and you just forget to set that timer. So please learn from my mistakes. Remember to set the timer. Needless to say, bake these bars for about 12 minutes, just until it's set. The base should give a tight wiggle and it should not jiggle. Remember, we did put egg white in there after all, and the egg white has less cholesterol. So that's why this is a healthier bar, along with the fact that we're using healthy, fiber-rich grains as well as natural mild sweeteners. Okay, so here we go. I'm continuing this process along, and as I said, I cooked the bars just a little too long, and that's why you'll see the crackling at the end, but they weren't cracked initially. I looked at them and I said, I want to give it just a couple more minutes, and I didn't set the timer, and life happened, and I totally left them in about 5 minutes longer than I intended to. So this is experiment number 1. I'm totally going to remake these, implementing the suggestions I just stated to you guys, and then we'll see how they come out. Make sure you keep an eye out for the video featuring experiment number 2. Okay, so I'm going to proceed and let you check this out for yourself. If you'd like to experiment alongside with me, check out the description box for the recipe, and you can give these a try as well. I hope you enjoy. I do appreciate you joining in and tuning into my channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and even comment. We really appreciate your time. Thank you. thank you so much for being patient with me. As you can see back there, my little bambino is here. I've had a little one, and so making videos is not the priority. Don't forget, make your food with love. It makes all the difference. Let's put love in the pot. Thanks so much. And don't forget to hit that bell. Shalom.